Hi, this is the Lourdes and Chris Show. This gorgeous, breathtaking vision. I'm right? Am I wrong? I mean, right? She's a vision. She's a vision of beauty. She's a vision of truth. She's a vision of light. She's gorgeous. I am so fortunate to have this woman as my wife. Seriously, one of the best people I know. If you haven't gotten to know, I'm not done. If you haven't gotten to know Lourdes yet, you really need to, because she is legit one of the best people you're ever going to meet. She's fantastic. You are fantastic.
Well, thank you, baby. See, I love that, babe. Thanks. I truly appreciate it.
Well, it's I speak truth, and it's all I know how to do. And I'm more excited than when Lourdes gets the window seat on an airplane.
Oh, because I do get excited for the window plane. I'm just like, hey, you can take the aisle all you want. I've already used the bathroom.
Now, can we be clear what that means? It means that if we fly together, I get the middle seat.
Yeah. Well, it's honestly, I mean, it's like I don't know how people do it, whether they're just in the middle or the side. I have to rest against the window.
So I let her take the window so she can lean up against the window and sleep and stuff. The nice thing is, because we're right next to each other, we just pulled a little armrest between us, and so we got a little bit more room to play with. But
that's true.
I do wind up being the middle seat guy.
That's true. I'm sorry.
I don't think she is. I think if we were to fly tomorrow, she'd do the same thing again.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So this is my husband, Chris, who is a little nutty, but it's all good.
Well,
I love him dearly, and I love traveling with him. By the way, now that we're speaking of traveling, I enjoy traveling with him, whether it's on a plane or driving.
No, I think we both enjoy traveling. I think even our worst traveling experiences still outdo a day-to-day grind for us.
Well, I think it's because we're together and we have these great and because we're not just husband and wife and partners, but we're best friends. And I think that's what makes it, why we enjoy it so much.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. I guess if you put two best friends in a bad situation, no matter what it is, it's a good situation.
Yeah, I agree.
That's our blessing in life. So thank you for that, Heavenly Father. We appreciate that. So the reason why I'm more excited than Lourdes getting the window seat on an airplane is because this week we're gonna crack something that we've been talking about for a long time. We've kind of touched on it a few times.
We have, and we've talked about things, when it came to detoxing. That was one of the things we mentioned. So yeah.
So you just nailed it. Yeah, detoxing. So this is listen, Lourdes has just had back-to-back consultations over the last couple of days, and we realized the
importance of this one thing.
Yeah, the commonality of the two conversations she had was, listen, you guys really need to get more serious about
coffee enemas.
Yeah, I know. Listen.
And I know it sounds weird.
I was just saying,
it's it's funny because when people talk about it's like, oh my gosh, because you're used to drinking it and all that.
Sure. Oh, actually, what did that one doctor say? Coffee is amazing for you. Who was it that said this?
It was one of the documentaries.
Coffee is amazing for you, but people are putting in the wrong end of their body.
Yeah, and because it instead of like suppressing, it actually stimulates the liver, and the liver does over 500 functions to the body.
And of course, is the glutathione. But we're going to get into the brass tacks of it. Yeah, in just a second.
Just stick with us to find out why it's so critically important when it comes to detoxifying, because you can detox with a lot of ways. But one of the things, even when you're detoxing and you're doing these regimens, if you're not kind of going directly to, because they'll go, oh, I do this liver detox, and you'll be amazed on how it prevents a lot of aches and pains and headaches.
Well, I tell you, the thing is, so I think I reacted like most people react when it comes to, any enema, really. Before you and I first got together, I never even considered doing an enema. Not for me, not for this manly man.
But now you do coffee enemas.
I do. And because it's so darn beneficial, honestly, you just need to let that go, folks. When Lourdes has consulted people, some of her, what's the word I'm looking for? Some of the people who didn't stick to the protocol properly, the one thing that they didn't do was the coffee enema. Now, detoxing, it's all nourish, balance, cleanse, guys. And cleanse is the third part of it. You got to do all three. If you're not doing all three, then you're kind of not doing the protocol properly. Yeah. And for some reason, that detox part, that cleanse part.
Yeah. And I know some people would say, oh, but I have this colon issue. And it's like, I'm not a conventional medicine doctor. So we're going to have different views.
Sure.
And so they won't say the things I'm going to say because that's not their training. So just know that when we talk about this, we're not consulting you as a conventional medicine doctor,
No.
because that's not what we're practicing. We don't practice medicine. We don't practice anything other than we practice health.
Yeah,
And it's not even practicing, we're just doing it.
I tell you, there's on a tragic note, a dear friend of ours, he became our friend after this.
Yes.
You know, his sister was battling cancer, and she was following the protocol and was rebounding in ways that the medical professionals were scratching their head.
Yeah.
Saying it was impossible for her to have gone as far as she did.
Because they gave it, I think, 3 to 5 days to live.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the 5th day that she should have been gone, she actually was removed out of the ICU and into a regular floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the one hurdle, or the one thing that the doctors vehemently disagreed with and would not do was the coffee enema.
Yeah. And it was interesting because instead of them going, well, wait a minute, why is she going from death to she's improving, where she's like back to life and things are just, she's not in a critical state anymore. They didn't care to ask. They weren't interested. In fact, they seemed more bothered, which is kind of weird.
And that was actually the reaction a lot whenever we dealt with medical professionals.
It's like, why are you bothered? Like, get off the egos. I love the doctors that are curious and go, okay, so what did you do? And they do want to know. I don't care for the ones that, you're not a doctor, so
yeah,
I don't. And it's like, who cares?
Well, so
it's like, I didn't go to the doctor, to a school so that I can read the textbooks and take tests to pass whatever to get a license, and then pass it according to how they want me to do it.
Yeah,
or fail.
But to be perfectly fair, you've done a ton of research on coffee enemas.
A ton.
So
a ton.
And then if you haven't seen this episode that I'm going to refer to right now, Dr. Newsom, a friend of the show, really the medical doctor that we go to, he's our go-to medical doctor.
Yeah, he's really great.
He's one of those doctors we're talking about. That's amazing.
Yep.
He says he has a thing called a detox funnel, and long and short of it, if you go to the lourdesandchrisShow.com and you look up that episode, you would understand what he means by the first step for most people, all people, is to get that bottom part out so that the rest of the trash can start moving through the body. Yes. And coffee enema is a really effective and powerful way to do that.
It is.
But when I so go to lourdesandchrisShow.com if you haven't seen that episode, so you can understand what we're talking about. But over the last 2 days, you've had some consultations with some people.
Yes. Oh yeah. And so because they're doing the thing that I'm doing now, which is the 3 sessions to a healthier you, and you can actually check that out on the lourdesandchrisShow.com, and you can purchase your sessions. Anyway, but that was one of the critical things is they're doing all these other things, but the one thing that kind of holds them back of attempting to do it is the coffee enemas. And it's not really hard. It seems kind of odd and weird, but I can promise you that the moment you do your first and second one, you'll be like, this was nothing. And actually you will feel a difference.
Yeah.
On the first one.
I think, well, my first one is kind of a funny experience because it felt unnatural. It went in and went right back out again because I had no hold power whatsoever. But
to be fair, in the toilet.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm not trying to paint a horrific picture here. I'm saying, well, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah. But there's a method to it as well. We're going to get into that in just a second. But I have to say, once I got past that mental block on my mind that, I'm going to be doing this. Once I got past that, I don't give it a second thought anymore. It's just something that you do for health. Yeah.
It really is. And it's not like it's painful because there's no pain to it. You will notice a great difference. Now, when you're cleaning out, some people go, oh, I felt great, but then later I had this problem. And then you find out they did nothing different in their diet at all. They did these very things that had them have a problem in the first place. So it's like, yeah, you might want to, after you're done doing one, do a juice.
In fact, when you have a headache, on the rare occasion you do wind up with a headache, the coffee enema knocks it right out for you.
Well, because the headache is because of toxins.
Sure. And when I have like joint issues or I'm feeling broken down or something like that, that's my go-to as well. It takes care of it for me. So
yeah. Well, think about it. If you're detoxing, a lot of times when you detox hard, you can end up with headaches and body aches and stuff.
Sure.
But what's interesting is that when you're detoxing because you're juicing or whatever you're doing to get things moving, when you do a coffee enema, it subsides that.
Yeah, we're about to do an event in May with the good Dr. Grant, and we're going to be unpacking a lot of that. So so keep your eyes open for that. But when you did your research for coffee enemas, I was surprised when you told me how long coffee enemas have been around for.
Yeah, since 1600 BC. And BC. And this is something that's always existed, something they've always done because they understood that this is what creates health. I think later in the moons is when we started, taking this and making coffee and
I know, right?
Yeah. But what they did beforehand was it was coffee enemas.
Yeah, and it was funny because you said even back in Egyptian times, Native Americans kind of tapped into it, the Hindus tapped into it.
Well, what was interesting about the Native Americans is they used, I forget what animal, but they used, I think it was like the animal's bladder or whatever as the bed.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. With the, and I was just like, oh, that's just so weird.
Well,
but that's how they
industrious people, I tell you, they figured stuff out.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm just like, can you imagine you did that and you kind of have to put it together? Yeah, it's just, I can't imagine. I think that's why they had to create the enema bags much easier.
Yeah, if you actually, we're going to link the enema bags that we like. It's going to be in the bottom of the description here, but that's the enema bag we actually prefer. And you can link, it'll be linked there so you can click on it and see what we're talking about. But, and then when was the first time you were introduced to it? Because I know it was.
Well, when I had cancer, I mean, now before I ever had cancer, I heard so long ago. I remember when they were talking to Janet Jackson, and she was talking about a coffee enema, and I was like, I don't get it. I just didn't get it because I've heard of it, but didn't really grasp it. Didn't go searching for it, none of that until I got sick, and then I understood this is what I need to do.
Now, just so you guys understand, there was a buildup to when Lourdes had finally gotten diagnosed with her cancer. And that buildup looked like little health issues here and there that kind of popped up for her. Yeah. She had actually gone and gotten a colonics done.
Got it. Yes.
And I remember my mom went with you, and she was ever so fascinated with the whole process. Isn't that interesting?
Well, she was in the room with me. Yeah.
Right. Well, so to be fair, my mom was a retired nurse, so guys, it's not like she was being weird. She was just as a nurse.
Yeah, and to be fair, I did want her to be in the room with me. It was my first experience. It's not like you're exposed. You are covered up. The person, it's like a towel, blanket, whatever, and then they do the thing, and you're on the side. But your mom got to see the weirdest things that came out because it goes into this clear tube that go, so she, I couldn't see it, but it was the wrong end.
Yeah.
But and I will say I did feel better.
Yeah.
But now the colonics is very different from a coffee enema. Colonics is also important because it's the thing I also did because you're cleaning out the intestinal area.
Yeah, let's take a little side journey on colonics real quick so people understand that there is a difference.
There is a huge difference. Colonics is more about cleaning out the pipes, right? Getting all the stuff that's kind of stuck on the intestinal area and the linings of that and cleaning everything out. Because when you clean all that out, things that have been sitting there for decades or years kind of just get out of the way, and then it can actually create healing. When there's stuff sit in it, it can create, like holes and gaps and stuff and craters and stuff. And so you have problems. But when you get all that out, and then you start taking like enzymes and all these things, it actually heals in an amazing way. So I think it has a lot to do with that. So
I mean, if you can imagine, like, take an old home, we've all seen it, like on those home improvement shows, and they have to remove the piping, and inside the piping is like this stuff that's inside there. Like, look how bad this pipe was, and that's what your intestines are. If you've never done a serious colonics or anything like that to try and remove all that built up, caked on stuff for years and years and years, that's what your insides look like as well. And so,
well, many people who have had whether they had colitis or any of those things, many of them have gone to doing colonics to clean those pipes out. And when they have cleaned out those intestines and stuff, they did see an improvement in their health, and just in general, because the body, when you give it what it needs, or which is sometimes it's just cleaning things out, the body will do its job and start healing where it needs to be healed. So many people that have colitis or Crohn's and all that, they did notice the healing happening. And and many have not even had it after that. But that's different than a coffee enema.
Well, I just want to say one more thing about the colonics, and that is, if you've not heard of Dr. Pagano, Pogano, I think Pagano. His diet is to target people with psoriasis, and the first thing that Dr. Pagano says in his book, and it's I've never met the man, but this is what he says in his book. Deep colonics is 100% necessary to start your process of healing your skin.
Well, yeah, because if you have problems there, anytime you have problems in the intestinal area, you're going to notice it in your skin.
Right.
So, you know, even when people get acne or psoriasis or eczema or any of those things, you're going to have problems. And that is one of the ways to kind of clear that up so you can start putting the things you need in your body, because now nothing's in the way, nothing's on the walls of just sitting there.
Now, colonics are typically done in an office. It's an outpatient process. You kind of, like Lourdes said, you go there, they take care of it for you. There is a home Kalima
board.
board.
COLEMA and then board, Kalima board.
We'll link that too, so you know what we're talking about. But that's something you can do at home. But I still don't think that's as
it's not a
deep colonics as you would get at the colonics.
Yeah,
place.
No, the way they do it in colonics, actual place does I think a lot better. But I did own a Kalima board because at the time when I was fighting cancer, I wanted to do that, and I did that every single day.
No, you had to.
Yeah.
Because
if you're doing things like that's killing cancer, and you have dead cancer cells is just as toxic as the toxins in the body that caused it. So you don't want something sitting there and causing problems. So I was literally in the things that would come out. Ugh.
Now we're back to full circle, because that's what Lourdes was advising her friends were, you know, what she had gone through, and she was saying that they should look into them themselves, and you know, because her friends are also, you know, these folks she's helping are also dealing with their own health issues, and she said the same thing. You don't want that bad stuff to hang out in your body. You want to get rid of it. So
you want to heal properly. You don't want something in the way. It's just like even when you get a cut, you can band-aid it so it stops bleeding, but if you don't wash it, it's gonna get infected. So you got to get the junk out the way. You got to clean it. Same thing with the intestine. If there's stuff in there that's just rotting and causing problems, you got to get it out so that you can get healed. I mean, most of your immune system is in your intestinal area. So you want to take care of that.
So when we wound up, when Lourdes had cancer and she was doing the coffee enemas regularly, it was to remove the dead cancer cells as she was fighting them. That's when she really started kind of digging in and doing the research. And then that's when you found out how ancient this really is.
Yeah,
it's an ancient practice.
It was actually shocking how you're just like, wow, this has been going on for that long.
Yeah, they thought they somehow they figured that out, you know, that's you know.
I know. I mean, it is. And you do feel a difference, you know, like the moment you do it and you're done, you feel like, I don't know, like clean and relieved, and you don't feel if you're bloated, you don't feel bloated. If you had a headache, for me, when I headache would go away. So anytime I've been exposed to a lot of things, I can tell when I get headaches, whatever, which again, rare, but it does occur
when we travel. We do it, and the reason why we do it when we travel is because, you know, it's very well documented, very well known that in an airplane, obviously they just recirculate the air. It's not truly scrubbed the way it should be scrubbed. It's not like a medical environment, so you're still getting some people's stuff, and then the radiation that you experience at those heights, you're being bombarded with it. So when we land wherever we end up going for whatever talk we're doing or event that we're participating in, we actually do a coffee enema when we land as well.
As soon as we get to our hotel room, and so we travel with our
we do. If those baggage guys were to ever look in our thing, they'd be shocked at some of the stuff that we've done. What is
this? But it's really important because, you know, a coffee enema, because this is why it's different. The coffee enema actually targets the liver, right? It's detoxing the liver. The liver has like 100,000 lobules that your blood streams through. And when it's cleaning through those areas, you know, it's like your blood gets cleaned through the liver every 3 minutes. So when you're putting, you know, you put so much in and you hold it, and you try to hold it for at least 15 minutes. And if you can in the beginning, that's okay, 3 minutes, whatever. By the time you go to the second or third, you'll be good. But what happens is the longer you hold it, that's how many times your blood has been cleaned out, because you're cleaning out the liver, right? This is going through there, filtering it out every 3 minutes. So that's why your toxins are coming out like an extreme way, but not where it's dangerous and not where it's, you know, unhealthy. But so when you're doing that, you're turning on the glutathione, and that's literally the mother of
thunder. I was about to say glutathione.
Yeah. So
stole my thunder.
Go ahead.
No, I was just to say, and one of the bigger benefits of it as well is it does activate your glutathione production in your body, which is, like you just said,
because your body does create it.
Yeah, and it is the mother of all antioxidants, and so it's helping your liver to expunge like all the bad toxins, and it also gets rid of what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Come on, the critters.
Parasites.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was escaping me. Parasites. I'm so disturbed. I didn't want to think about it. Parasites. Yeah.
I mean, even when you do a colonics, you'll get some of that stuff out. But when you do coffee enema. Yeah, the stuff that comes out is just like creepy as ever.
Okay, so on again, this is going to be a sidetrack. When Lourdes was using wheatgrass as a primary way of fighting her cancer, one of the things she would do is she would do what's called an implant, and that would kind of go
Yeah.
same idea.
Yeah, so the implant is a little different. It's
Mhm.
still an enema type thing, but it's going in and then kind of sitting there for a few minutes, and you're only doing so much.
The stuff that came out though is kind of what I'm leaning towards. And Lourdes didn't have to share, but because we're partners in all things, she took pictures and sent them to me. I don't, I saw them and you can't unsee them. I still have an image of them now, but there was some nasty stuff that was coming out of her. Parasites, tapeworms.
Very long. What was it?
It was a tapeworm or something.
What was skin on a tapeworm? I just think it was a very long, because I looked up tapeworms and they were like it was different.
Well, whatever it was,
like this long parasite, and I mean it just went on and on and on, and it even had a belly with like blood in it. It was disgusting.
Yeah. So I saw it. And I saw it, and then I wish I hadn't. Now,
no, you could have just told me, babe, because
yeah,
I'll believe you.
Yeah, I trust you. I said, no, just tell me it was gross and disgusting, and I'll trust you. That's the sort of trust I've got for my significant other. I trust her like that. And from my own personal experience, when I've done first of all, I can't handle. I've never built I shouldn't say I can't. I could probably build myself up to a wheatgrass implant like you did, to where you can hold it in, but boy, in and out.
Yeah,
it made my body mad every time. But even I
really pulled some stuff out.
Even on a personal level, when I've done coffee enemas, some stuff came out, and you go,
that is
I am glad that is no longer in there. Now, I did not take a photo and share it with Lourdes. I just didn't need to. No, I just didn't need to. It's like,
but you know what? The difference is I like to share. I don't want those shocking moments to be lost. I need to share those shocking moments.
You can't unsee it, guys. You can't. But don't be freaked out is my point, because
it's actually it's in our documentary.
Yeah. Yes.
You see it.
Yeah.
I recorded it.
So, but don't freak out when you do a coffee enema and you see stuff coming out that doesn't look right. It looks like it's perhaps from another planet. That makes sense. Then
you wonder, how did it get in there?
But think to yourself, it's better out than in. And how did it get in there? That's a good question. I mean, the parasites are mostly coming from our diet.
Well, if you eat meat, if you have seafood, if you eat sushi, like those, there are many ways you don't clean your fruits and vegetables really well.
I was going to say, even vegetarians experience it because they haven't properly cleaned.
Yeah, you don't clean some of that stuff really well. It's like,
they're out in the orchard. Oh, this apple looks delicious, and in it goes, and you're like, oh, there you go.
There you go. It's gonna grow.
Yeah, and then so it's a necessary part of the wholeness complete. So nourishment and balance, what that's doing to your body, obviously, is just what it sounds like. You're putting the proper stuff in. Your body is balancing, but to balance, your body actually is trying to get rid of the bad stuff, because. Realize that a lot of people, when they're not feeling well, they're out of balance, and what that means is they've got too many toxins.
No, I totally agree, and that is the problem. When your body is balanced, when all your organs are running at the way they should, not that this one's working, but this one's not. So now this one's got to work extra harder because that one's not working. But when you're putting in the right things, right, but you're also making sure that the things that shouldn't be in there are getting removed, so that it has now the stuff going in to help this heal. You can't help something heal if something's in the way of it. So removing, detoxing, cleansing, as you will, and then nourishing it. It's because that's why I always tell people, when you do a coffee enema or a colonics, whichever one, but specifically a coffee enema, I feel is needed. If you're fighting cancer, I was doing 4 a day.
Well, I was just going to say, the nice thing about doing a coffee enema is you can do it from the comfort of your own home successfully. You can do it 3 to 4 times, which you did. You had to.
Yeah, I was doing it 4 times a day, every day, when I was fighting cancer. And then once I was done, I do it once a week, sometimes more than once a week. Just depends on
depends on what's going on, right? I mean, if we're getting prepared to fly and we want to make sure we're whole and complete, we'll start to up our.
Or we've been shopping a lot and we just feel like there's a lot of junk that we've been exposed to and stuff. We just kind of clean it out. But what I think is so great is that you do feel the difference. You're taking things out, and as you're taking them out, when you're putting things in, because you can nourish all you want, but if something's in the way, you're not nourishing 100%.
Right.
You know, it can't get into the body like it
Well,
should.
and that kind of makes sense if you think about it. If your body is not at optimal running capacity, if it's not, you know, if you take an engine analogy, if all the 8 cylinders in the V8 engine aren't firing properly, when you get
Right.
backfires, you know, but it doesn't run right.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. Like, you could be putting top-notch fuel into your body, but because your body's not hitting all cylinders properly,
Yep.
it's just, you're not going to get the full benefits of it.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like a tune-up.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You got all the gook in there. If you don't take the gook out, you're going to have problems with the motor. It's just not running right. It keeps cutting off, or it just kind of shakes and trembles. Same thing with the body. You just got to get that gook out. And when you get the gook out, I mean, honestly, I think, you know, when it comes to your organ, especially your liver, again, like I said, your liver does over 500 functions. But if it's overtaxed and it's busy trying to get rid of these, you know, over-the-counter pills or prescriptions, or, you know, the chemtrails, the exposure of all these toxins that were taken in, never mind they spray our foods and you didn't wash them and you're eating them, and what's in
Even
some of the
organic
stuff.
foods.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's organic, because they even spray just to travel it from one place to another.
That's right.
So if you're not really getting that stuff out, you know, there's stuff that we can't really control, but what we can control is what's in our body, how to get it out. And it's really critical, because we want our liver to run at its optimum health.
Well, I think you're onto something. I think the most important thing for people to realize is that no matter what, your body has stuff in it that you need to get out right now. And, you know, even if your body is running optimally, first of all, congratulations. It means you're doing all the right things. You're hitting all the right notes, which is awesome. And I know a few people that probably fall into that category.
Yes.
But you still want to do the coffee enemas, just kind of assist it along. You know, I mean, it's still one of those things that I think, if you live a healthy lifestyle and you're not including something like a coffee enema regimen into your process, then you're kind of missing out on something that's just super beneficial to what you got going on.
And that was one thing, and I don't want to forget this, is after you're done doing a coffee enema, I always tell people, is the thing that I did, is you want to have some fresh juice afterwards. You want to put in, now that you got rid of all this stuff, you want to get in, you know, liquids, and, you know, water, obviously, because you don't want to dehydrate and stuff.
Yeah.
And because water, you want to drink at least half your body weight in ounces into your body on a daily basis. But in general, after doing a coffee enema, when you do a fresh juice, you know, you can have like celery and cucumber with the green apple and kale and a little bit of ginger. But when you're putting those things in, some lemon, you know, just kind of put those things in there. And I don't mean, because a lot of people get that confused. They think that juicing means a blending. Blending is just blending all the stuff up. It's like, no, I mean juicing, where you put it into a masticating juicer, it squeezes out the juice, you drink that fresh, and it goes into your system, and it just like saturates the cells. And now that it's all clean, it's amazing how you feel.
And I would also recommend people look into probiotics as well at that point as well. Enzymes for sure.
Enzymes first.
Yes.
Probiotics second. So get the enzyme in your system. You can always do the probiotic afterwards, but enzymes should, because most people get so wrapped in probiotics. Yeah. But if you didn't, once you clean things out, if you're not putting, you know, you don't want to get bloated. A lot of times people just forget about the enzyme part, and enzymes, I mean, I don't think we can live and exist without enzymes.
No, I think it's been established. We can't exist without enzymes.
So that's how important. We get depleted from not having enough enzymes, because most of the foods that we cook anything that's alive right out of it. And, you know, and it comes most, you know, really from the fruits and vegetables. But if you're cooking your vegetables so there is no enzymes, because I think it's like, once it gets to over 118 degrees, the enzymes are dead. So most of our food that we're eating is dead. So putting in and taking in enzymes is really critical.
Yeah.
You want that. And you'll notice that when you're taking enzymes, even if you take probiotics, you don't feel so bloated. And you just take probiotics, a lot of times you're going to feel bloated.
Yeah. And then not all coffee is created equally. So that's the other thing too. You know, when we were in Mexico and Lourdes was fighting her cancer with their natural means down there, not with the crap they have up here. The coffee enema was 4 times a day, I think.
It was 4 times a day.
Yeah. And they used Folgers coffee. I just went to the store, and you know, for what it's worth, that did the trick, I guess. But that actually wasn't the best coffee.
Yeah, you don't want to do the coffee you want to do. It's air roasted. The difference is, because when you go to the stores, what they really sell is, unless it says air roasted, it is drum roasted. Drum roasted can be carcinogen. You don't want something that causes cancer going into your system. So that's why you do air roasted. Air roasted does not cause that. And that's why they do it that way. And there's lots of places. And there's one of our favorites that we actually purchased from, and we'll share that link as well.
Yeah, and it looks different. It's still coffee. It just doesn't look like that dark, rich coffee brownie or whatever.
Yeah, because it depends. If you go with extra light, then it's almost like a gold color. But I do it the same color of when you make coffee.
Yeah.
The medium. But again, and even though it says coffee enema, right? It's saying it because you can use it safely to do an enema, but you can also drink it, so you don't have to worry about any carcinogens.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. You coffee drinkers, pay attention.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So also all enema bags are a little bit different. So do your research with that. We put down our favorite one because for me the clamp is better on this one. That's
way better on that one, because there's some that you have to squeeze it and close,
right.
And this is so simple. When you take the coffee, you make the coffee, right? You just do like 4 cups. Take 4 cups and you put like 3 tablespoons of the air roasted coffee. Put in about 4 cups of the water, and then once it's done, you wait till it's room temperature. Once it's room temperature, you take it into your
advice.
Yeah, and then
don't go all right away.
Make sure it is room temperature.
Yeah,
or even if it's just nice
slightly
and warm.
Yeah,
you just don't want it hot. You pour it into the BPA-free bag. Or they also have in the same place, but we're gonna share the link. They have the metal instead of a bag, it's an actual like little.
We like the BP because it's easier to travel with the BPA.
Easier. It's flat. It's easier. But if you want to get that and you don't want to travel with it, you can get that. So all you're doing is you're pouring it in there, and then it's got a clamp. So you release the clamp. So you want to first make sure the clamp is closed so that it doesn't just go screaming out there. But
coffee fountain in your bathroom.
Yeah,
it happens to us all. Yeah.
So just close it up, pour the coffee in, and then release it and keep it up high so that it doesn't go all over the place. And then when the coffee is going through it, what you're doing is it's going through the tube, and once it gets to the tip, you close it. And all you're going to do after that is you're going to take some coconut oil.
Yep.
And nice organic coconut oil, and just take a little bit, put it on the tip. The rest of it's in your hand. You just wipe it on your anus area, and then you slide a little bit in, not much, just enough in, just where the little hole is in.
Point to your belly button.
Yep. And exactly. People don't go. They go, it's going in wrong or whatever. All you're going to do is, like, if you put in an aim line, you're going to aim towards like a slight angle pointing towards your belly button. Then you put it in right, which will go in smoothly. You release. You just let some of it, you can see through the bag. You let some of it go down, and then you clamp. And then you pull it out, you just wait and try to hold it as long as you can. 15 minutes is optimal.
Do you recommend laying on the right side?
Right, laying on the right side is important, because when you lay on the right side, you're really putting it all to the area where the liver is. And that's very, very, now sometimes I'll just lay on my back or on the side, or, but if you want to get it to like where is the best, it is to lay on your right side. Yeah.
And it's just because it's sitting there, it's just hitting the liver. Like, give me what you got.
Yep. And then you just get up, sit on the toilet, release.
When nature does what it does.
And make sure after you're done, then you wash your hands after you're done, so that when you get more coconut oil, you're doing everything every time. You want to be very clean about this.
Nature will tell you when it's time to release and let go.
And by the way, the more times you do it, the longer you can hold on to it.
This is a fact. So remember earlier I was talking about the first time I tried it, was like, get out of here. I've gotten quite good at just kind of hanging out with it. It's like, okay, it's there. It doesn't, but that's just because I do. I read a book, listen to music, whatever. I just
focus on your body cleaning. It's like, really, you want to get to the point where it's that while you're laying there, because the energy is very strong when you're feeling it and you're going, okay, I'm, my body's healing, and just visualize the liver, just this healthy liver cleaning things out of your system. You'd be amazed how the difference it makes. Yeah.
And so, no, you just nailed on something. The mental part of it is ever so crucial. So there's so the idea is that you just want to get, if you have a mental block about doing something like a coffee enema, you just want to just try it for the first time, and you're going to see it is truly beneficial.
And it's very beneficial, as I was saying, when you're doing your coffee enema and you're holding it there. You can either read a book, something that's inspiring, something that keeps you in about health, something that's going to make you feel good. Another thing is literally closing your eyes and visualizing because even if your liver is healthy, like really seeing that nice, healthy pink liver, right? And it's doing its thing and clean, and just see the toxins coming on out and just dispersing out of your body. So that way, when you're releasing each time, you're getting more and more stuff out, because the body works with you. The brain is a powerful tool to use when it comes to stuff like this.
We've kind of touched on that before, but we might do a whole episode on it, the mind-body connection.
Yes.
But if you this is even bodybuilders use the same trick. When they're working out, they actually will visualize the specific muscle getting stronger, getting bigger, getting working harder for them. They'll actually visualize it, and they will testify they get stronger and better results for it. It's the same thing with this. If you're visualizing your liver releasing these toxins, your body listens to you.
Yep.
And people underestimate that, but you're right. The mind-body connection is huge when it comes to
enormous.
this.
I mean, the mind is so powerful that when you're doing something healthy, when you're cleaning something out of your system, or you cleaned it out and you're thinking in that sense of things moving out, that brain, that mind is really powerful. So it's working together with you. When you're drinking something, it's another thing. You're done doing the enema. Now you're going to go get your juice. Putting that energy of how this juice is just saturating your body with nutrients and vital nutrients and trace minerals and vitamins.
That's a really
all these nutrients going in your body, and just being in that space, you'll be amazed how healthy your body gets.
How quickly it gets.
Yes.
I mean, so because you're basically taking command and control, and you're telling it to do so. So yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because there's truly even when we were in Mexico or throughout your whole journey.
Yep.
It was all about you keeping your mental focus where it needed to be.
It didn't matter how much agony I was in. It didn't matter if I was barely breathing and I could feel it. But the focus was, this is what I was barely breathing. And even with the barely breathing, which is very, very uncomfortable, knowing that what they were doing and being the focus that that's what it was doing was taking care of that, even the doctor was shocked on the stuff that how I had a week left to live, got there, and within days, just 1 week of being there, it turned everything around. But no matter what the condition I was in, I could be upset, crying, and then I'm like, something's getting done. It's taking care of that. My mind was always, it's taking care of that. It's cleaning that out. It's healing this. And I think that's why
we had rules. We had rules that people weren't allowed to be stinking thinking about this whole thing around Lourdes. If there was something negative to be said, it was away from her presence.
Yep. Well, because if the person is fighting for their life, the last thing they need is someone out there not fighting for their life. They're just kind of like, oh, doom and gloom. That doesn't help. There's no help. But when you're fighting for it, and they're like, you got this, and you no matter what your thoughts are, you focus with them. That's a collective energy that you're helping them with.
Yeah, I think to your point, the people that have seen success and turned it around, I think the thing they all have in common is that you just had a never say die attitude.
Yep.
They just refused to give into the doubts, the negative thinking.
They avoided people that did.
So
made it clear it's like, this is how it's got to be. And then they had some people that support them.
Yeah, support is huge. Huge. And so it's the same thing with the coffee enema. Use it as almost a meditative experience, and tell your body that it's getting better and to feel better, and it's going to react in kind. And that's the thing about it. So we've talked about the Lourdes and Chris Show a couple of times on this episode. You can see all of our former episodes on the Lourdes and Chris Show. Plus, you can sign up for our newsletter, our email address.
You can subscribe there.
Yep. And then there's Lourdes is offering a consultation package.
Yeah, it's a 3-session to a healthier you. And what it is we get to do a Zoom call together. Or if that's hard for you, we can do a phone call. However, it's much easiest for you. And in those 3 sessions, I try to spread them out each week, but it depends on the person's schedule. But each week, so for the 3 weeks, right? So 1 week we'll schedule a day and time, and then we go into what you're looking to work on, whether you're dealing with cancer, diabetes, or high blood pressure, or cholesterol, or weight issues, or you're just not feeling good, but you just want to get into a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
We look at it together on how to tackle that. And then as we're doing this together, I also give you I think it's 174, 180 page ebook with recipes and things to do on a daily basis.
That's kind of a cute story there. I'm gonna unpack it. It started off as like a 20-page thing. We're just gonna so that they
There's
have
like,
a guide, and then Lourdes was like, I really need to include this part of it. I'm going to include that part of it. And then I'd be like, all right, good. I'm glad you got that done, babe. And then it would be like, I really need to include what teas do for you. We did a whole thing about teas. We need to put the teas in there. And I go, oh, all right, go ahead and put teas in there. Yeah, that makes sense. And then it was like, So long story short, as Lourdes was,
it went from 20 pages to like 180 something pages.
Yeah.
But it's because it's having you from the moment you wake up to the time you go to sleep, of what you're doing and how you're focused and the stuff that you're making. And it's really important on, I also put it where each ingredients, what it does for the body. Because I really felt it was important that if you understood it as you're eating or drinking that thing, right?
Again, the mind body thing.
Yeah. You're going, oh, I'm drinking this juice or eating this fruit or vegetable or seed or whatever the salad is, and it's healing my eyes, or it's working on my joints, or my bones, or my heart. So it's literally working on the specifics. So as you're eating these things, you're knowing this, and now you're working it together with the mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah. And so go to the lourdesandchrisshow.com. Check that out. That's where you're going to find all that information right there. You can follow us on all the different social medias. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. But TikTok,
we'll get on it.
We need to do better about TikTok. We're on all that stuff. So available all throughout here. And as always, we just appreciate you showing up every week and listening to what we have to say. It makes a difference for us. Please like, follow, and share, because it helps so much more than you think it does. It's so immensely helpful for us.
And we know that what you share with others, it may be the very thing that person needed to hear or see.
Well, it's because at the Lourdes and Chris Show, we always say you don't know who needs to know that thing that you know. And now that you know it, it's almost your imperative duty to move on and share it with other people, because they need to know it. That's our whole point. That's what we're all about.
Well, even, you don't know the thing that person needs to know that you watched.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. So thank you so much for joining us every week. We absolutely love you. We do see those of you who share with us, share our stuff. And so we just thank you and reach out to you to say thank you for that. We love you. We're going to see you again in about a week, because every Thursday night, can you imagine? We're getting there. Thursday, we're going to get there. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, the Lourdes and Chris Show releases a new episode. It drops, and you're going to see us on these different platforms: YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, on our website the next day.
And when you go on to the lourdesandchrisshow.com, you'll not only see all the prior videos, right, all the episodes, but you'll also see like things that where you can actually go to get these sessions, but you also have things that we take, what we do on a daily basis, what our regimens are.
Yes, absolutely.
That's all on there.
Yeah, the whole page is devoted to that. So we're going to see you again in a week, because that's what this is all about. Keep being healthy. Get yourself back to track, man. We absolutely love you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.